football fans, welcome to Friday Night Varsity Preview. I'm Rachel George, joined by Chuck Carey, and it is finally here, the final week of the regular season. Plenty of conference matchups that are going to figure key into final standings. A few we're going to look at, and I know you've been working on this week. Wallace Hill at James Keenan. The Bulldogs can clinch a sole possession of the Tri-County title. What are they doing this week to do that?
Well, I understand they've had great practices and all, and that I think it's the big game with James Keenan when they're playing. I think Wallace Hill will really be ready, and I expect them to be clicking on all cylinders this game.
And we've talked about quite a turnaround from them to go from 2-10, now have Joey Price as their coach for the first year. They're 8-2. Can't, at least have a share of it, have the top playoff seed, all that stuff. So certainly a great year for the Bulldogs.
Yes, and because of the way that the playoff system works, they'll be able to drop a game since they're playing 11. So win Friday night and they can go in 9-1 and set themselves up for a possible #1 overall seed, which means that opponents may have to come and play in the dog pound.
Yeah, that's right. Two other conference races we want to look at briefly. East Bladen and East Duplin, both still unbeaten at 10-0. With wins, can clinch sole possession of the Waccamaw and the East Central, respectively. Certainly, I've been impressed with those two teams and would expect them to do that on Friday night.
Yes, I would be shocked if they didn't. A lot of people have told me East Bladen in particular can go a long ways in the playoffs, that they're one of the better teams that people have seen. And I know East Duplin coach Brian Aldridge has sort of downplayed how good his team really is this year. So he keeps saying they've got some holes in their game, but apparently there hasn't been anybody who's been able to expose those holes.
No, and I've seen both of them play and certainly been impressed. I've been voting them 3 and 4 in my poll, and the Panthers are ranked 3rd, the Eagles are ranked 6th in the AP football poll, but two great teams. I think we both fully expect them to finish this season unbeaten, head into the playoffs still perfect. That brings us to the game, the one we've been talking about all week. Hoggard-Hanover, always a huge rivalry. Usually by the time we get to this game, it means something, and this year it does. The Vikings come in 6-4, New Hanover 8-2, but both are 4-0 in the conference. So whoever wins this game here at Legion Stadium on Friday night is going to be the Mid-Eastern champion. So.
Yes. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's interesting because here you have New Hanover, that was the top dog for so long, and that's been trying so hard to get back there. And it's sort of perhaps ironic, or it's probably fitting that it has to go through Hoggard to do it. And Hoggard has been on top so long, and Hoggard knows how to win. And until somebody beats Hoggard, Hoggard's still the champions.
That's right. And the series, it's a rivalry, but New Hanover hasn't won in this series since 1995. Hoggard's won every one since then, won the past 7 Mid-Eastern titles, and we were just talking about hasn't lost a Mid-Eastern game since 2004 when they lost to White Oak. So definitely, recent history on their side. I will say for this matchup, we've talked about it a lot. I think New Hanover probably has a better team this year in terms of athletes, and certainly their record is better, but they cannot do what New Hanover always does, and that's shoot themselves in the foot, turnovers, mistakes, and most specifically, just costly penalties. We talk about, sometimes they take a lot of dumb ones, some unsportsmanlike, some face masks, all that stuff. They can't do that, and I know it's going to be a rivalry game, and it's tough, and they want to beat Hoggard, but if they want to have any chance of winning, that's what they need to do.
I totally agree. I think that New Hanover has to just really play smart and just not turn it over. I pretty much expect New Hanover to be conservative, although I think both teams are going to have something up their sleeves. I think you may see some gadget plays, probably less from New Hanover, but I wouldn't be surprised if Hoggard throws something at New Hanover they haven't seen before.
Oh yeah, I think we always end up with that in Hoggard-Hanover. Well, like every other game that's on Friday, we will go through the schedule for the final week here. As we mentioned, Hoggard is here at Legion Stadium to play New Hanover. Also in the Mid-Eastern, Laney is at Ashley. The Bucks trying to not go winless on the season. They're 0-10 right now. Rose is at New Bern. In the Waccamaw, as we mentioned, East Bladen is at North Brunswick. The Scorpions, a hot team, trying to go for their 4th win in a row, so we'll see how that goes. Whiteville is at South Brunswick. West Brunswick is at South Columbus. In the Tri-County, as we mentioned, Wallace is at James Keenan. Pender is at Trask. Lakewood is at Union. In the East Central. South Lenore is at Topsail, and as we mentioned, East Duplin trying to finish the perfect season with a home game against Croatan. In the Three Rivers, East Columbus trying to get a conference title with a home game against South Robinson, and West Columbus is on the road at Red Springs. And rounding out the schedule, Dixon is at Jones in a Coastal Plains matchup. So certainly a packed week of football this week.
Yes, yes, it is. And don't forget that Saturday is the day that they're going to announce the pairings
Yes.
for the state playoffs. So it should be a fun weekend.
That's right. Well, Chuck and I will be here at Legion Stadium on Friday covering the Hoggard New Hanover matchup. We'll be live blogging from that game. We'll have plenty of coverage on that, as well as all these other games we've been talking about. Be sure to check back on Saturday morning to Friday Night Varsity Flashback as we recap this final week of the regular season. But for this week, for Chuck Carey and myself, Rachel George, this has been Friday Night Varsity Preview on StarNewsOnline.com.
Number 8 on the carry for the Bulldogs. And he's still playing. I do not see any flags on the play, and he is in.